Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the two 5-pan palettes from Pat McGrath's holiday collection. We're going to be swatching, demonstrating them on the eyes, and I'm going to be sharing all of my thoughts on whether these are worth picking up or not. So without further ado, let's get started. So there are two of these 5-pan eyeshadow palettes available as part of Pat McGrath's Celestial Nirvana collection for holiday 2022. Both of these palettes are going to be limited edition for holiday, and they will set you back £32 individually, but they are also available as a set for £54. And as I speak, you can get 10% off either of those prices by using the code. I'll put all that information and the link in my description box. The code probably won't last for too much longer, but at the moment it's still there and you can still get 10% off. So a much lower price point than any of her other eyeshadow palettes. Both of these palettes were made in Italy and they contain 4 grams of product. So that's just under a gram per pan, which is about half the size of like what you would expect to find in a mothership palette. So mothership palettes typically they contain about 19.5 grams of eyeshadow, so per pan that's like 1.95 grams. So these are about half the size per pan of her mothership eyeshadows, so they're not tiny. That's a decent pan size. You know, the mothership pans are big old pans with a lot of product in them, so you know these are significantly smaller than those, but an average sort of eyeshadow pan amount could be between, you know, 0.8, 0.9 up to like 1.2, something like that is kind of a more average typical eyeshadow amount. So that's not really a stingy amount. These are, you know, you're going to get some use out of these for sure. So let's look at Nude Allure first. So both of these palettes feature 1 matte and then 4 metallic shades of varying impact and shimmer. This is definitely a sort of rosy pink color story with a sort of icy quality to it, but overall a very pink leaning little quint. Very, very pretty, very soft and feminine, and very easy going, smooth, soft shadows. Then we have Bronze Bliss. Immediately you will notice this is a much cooler color story than Nude Allure, with that really rich black matte in there. This is going to give you real smoky looks. Again, everything in here feels very soft, smooth, and really like these shimmers in these palettes have a real sort of glide, almost wet feeling to them. Very, very creamy, very smooth and buttery when you swatch them on the hand. So really nice shadows to swatch. Both of these palettes have a mirror. It is a sort of smaller and flat mirror compared to like the beveled mirror you get in a mothership, but certainly works. I did my mascara using this little palette today and it's perfect. You know, you can see your eyes certainly to look in there. You know, it does the job for a mini palette. It, you know, ticks the box of having a usable, workable mirror in there. I like this packaging. Obviously, it's not as luxe and luxurious as the mothership packaging, but it's solid. It feels solid. It doesn't feel light and flimsy. It has a nice sort of magnetic closure to it, and it does feel like hard. Although it is that sort of cardboard, it is hard, and it does feel like the shadows are secure in there. You know, they came to me a long way away. They've been on a journey, these palettes, and nothing in here was like disturbed or loosened or kicked up. They feel like they are secure in here. So I do think these will be nice actually for travel because they do have a decent quality to the packaging. Now, I do know at the moment, obviously at this holiday season over on Pat McGrath's website, and she for some reason is drip feeding these launches to us a little bit at a time, with the whole holiday collection launching in like at least, what are we on, like 3 launches so far, and there's more to come. This was my first order from the holiday collection. There is a warning on Pat's website stating that you must allow at least 2 weeks due to, you know, the influx of orders that she gets with holiday season. So these did arrive in, I think, 9 days for me. From ordering to being in my hand, it was 9 days, which is actually pretty fast for Pat McGrath, pretty slow for everyone else. But typically my orders from Pat McGrath, even, you know, not on a big launch, just a regular order, regular time of year, can take a good 2 weeks and more. So actually I was pleasantly surprised that these were in my door in 9 days. I was expecting it to be longer. So yeah, not bad. I mean, only with Pat McGrath would we be like celebrating and really happy that an order took 9 days, you know, so make of that what you will. So I think that is all the information I need to share with you on these palettes. So let's get into the tutorials and see how these work on the eyes. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Nude Allure, and I'm going to dip into this matte shade first of all. Both of these palettes have like one matte and then 4 different sort of finish of shimmers with like kind of varying intensities. This is my Rephr 16 brush, by the way. This is blending really nicely. I definitely get the feeling this brush picked up a lot of product then, but it blended out really nicely despite me definitely picking up more product than I kind of intended to. Definitely a very soft matte, which is really nice. I think that would build really nicely as well. So I'm going to use my Rephr 01 and just really lightly sort of build that up in the outer V. Yeah, that builds beautifully on itself, that shade. So you could kind of use this really softly or build it up and get quite a smoky effect. I feel like this palette almost feels a bit more daytime, but it's definitely got like some smokiness in it, and you could definitely achieve like a more sort of impactful look. It doesn't have to be super soft and subtle, but it definitely can be at the same time. Very easygoing little palette. So I'm going to use my Sonia G Builder brush and this metallic shade here, just in the kind of middle part of my lid. I want to kind of use a good few shades out of this palette. They all swatched really nicely and very smooth. Not getting a lot of fallout. I'm using a dry brush. And then I'm going to use this sort of brighter metallic with my Rephr 21. Very pretty shade, that one. I actually feel like all the metallics in here are quite, not necessarily soft and subtle, not like a Chanel shadow or anything, but they are definitely smoother and more soft than like a typical Pat McGrath metallic. Definitely a bit more subdued, not quite as punchy. I'm also noticing a lot of these shadows are really soft, so if you rub your brush in there you're going to pick up way too much product. You kind of just need to touch really lightly, just press your brush lightly in there, and I'm going to use that middle metallic there just to kind of blend these two together. Very pretty pink colour story in here. Very soft, feminine, pretty. Very, very beautiful. Okay, so next I'm using my soft definer from Sonia G, and I'm just going to go into that matte very gently and run this under the lower lash line. And then I'm just going with my Rephr 28 and I'm just going to pack this in the inner corner. You could definitely use these shadows with a finger or damp, and they're going to give you a brighter, more impactful finish if that's what you're looking for. This is super pretty. I've basically got like zero fallout that I can see this close to my mirror, and really, really pretty, soft look. Really easy palette to work with. I love that these are a real full, complete colour story, which isn't always the case with these smaller palettes. From Pat McGrath, quite often with her quads, there's like no matte. It's just like a quad of different shimmers, and it's hard to kind of pull a look together without dipping into another palette. I feel like both of these have everything you need for a complete look. So let's move on to Bronze Bliss, and again I'm going to start off with the matte shade and my Rephr 16, but I'm going to go careful this time because these are very pigmented mattes, which is why I think a lot of us can struggle with Pat McGrath mattes. When you first sort of start trying the brand and using them, the mattes are just so pigmented. They are a bit of a learning curve, and these are no different. Super pigmented. You want to start off really lightly, especially if you don't want something incredibly smoky. You really want to use a light hand and then blend, 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 because they are so pigmented. You don't need a lot. Okay, and next with my Sonia G Builder, I'm going to go into this deeper bronzed shade and just start applying that to the outer third of the lid. And then the lighter bronzy shade in the center of the lid to give that a bit of pop in the center. Oh, that's a lovely shade. Beautiful. Very pretty. Liking that shade a lot. Again, this whole palette works beautifully together, I think. Such creamy metallics as well. You really do not need much product at all. A tiny little tap with your brush. Do not swirl your brush in here. Like half the pan is going to be on your brush. And then let's use this metallic at the front part of the eye. Oh, that's pretty. Very pretty. I'm kind of trying to do like the same look on each eye so we can really compare the colours in both to see. So I'm basically doing the same thing, just using the different palettes on each side. And then this silver shade, which as you probably saw from the swatches, is something else. It is very, very metallic. I'm going to use that in the inner corner. Ooh, tasty. That is like molten metal, liquid metal. Wow. I'm actually going to use, I think, this bronzy shade on my lower lash line. I want to see how that looks there. I don't really want to use this super smoky matte under my lower lash line. It's just going to be a lot. I mean, this is also a lot, but slightly less of a lot, you know. I've got parents' evening later. Okay, so we have bronzed Bliss and Nude Allure. Let's wax a mascara on and share the finished looks. Okay, so we're back with mascara and we have bronzed Bliss on this side and Nude Allure on this side. Really interesting just to see, you know, basically the same look, but you can really see the difference in tones with the super cool side and the warmer, pinkier side. Definitely looks softer to me. And this side, it's almost like a daytime, nighttime to me, and how, you know, my preference with makeup and how I do makeup. This is like, you know, an evening look, and this would be like perfect daytime look. Let's do a little close up for you. Okay, so my thoughts on these two little palettes are these are an amazing option for anyone who's been wanting to try a Pat McGrath palette, try Pat McGrath shadows at such a great price point. You know, these are available in a set. I picked up the set for £54 and then minus the 10% discount. If that's still, I will put the code down below. I'm not sure if that's still working, depends when you're watching this video. But yeah, so it was like £49 for two 5-pan Pat McGrath palettes. That's pretty much as good as I think it's ever going to get. You know, they're decent pan size. Yes, they are mini, you know, they are mini palettes, but you know, you're going to get a lot of use out of these. And I also really like that both of these 5 pans give you a complete full look, and actually probably 2 or 3 different looks, because I feel like that is quite unusual for Pat when she does these more affordable, smaller palettes, particularly around holiday with, you know, the 4 pans. They're typically much more expensive. Yes, they do tend to have like the special shades in, which are pricier, but they never really include mattes. It's quite rare for them to complete a full cohesive look for most people, and a more wearable look with light and shade and matte and shimmer and, you know, a gradient of colours in one of these sort of smaller, more affordable palettes. So I think that's amazing. I think they are perfect for anyone who wants a palette that is going to do a full look and without it being super complicated. You know, it's very easy to use and easy to know where to place what shadows. And in both palettes, you have a range of options when it comes to the shimmers, that, you know, how your look will finish and what kind of colours you come up with. Obviously, there's only one matte in there, but then I think that's a really good choice. I personally would have liked 2 mattes. and 3 shimmers, but for lots of people you want more shimmers for your money, especially from Pat McGrath. But I think, you know, Pat's mattes are always really buildable, so you can kind of get like 2 mattes out of the one shade. You know, you can use it very lightly, and then as I did, build the same shadow, and you kind of get a bit of light and shade from the same pan. I think they both worked very, very nicely. All of the shadows feel so creamy and soft, and you need the tiniest amount from the shimmers and metallics. Using with a finger, you can really amp up the shimmer if that's what you like, or use a damp brush, and I think that will work really nicely as well. I do think for like my typical way that I use and wear makeup, that there is definitely like this side is more daytime, softer, more feminine, and then the Bronze Bliss side is like more evening, more glam, more night out, more drama, smokier. You could definitely wear either of these daytime or nighttime. That's just kind of how I feel. If you're trying to choose between them, I would say that Nude Allure is kind of a bit more everyday, softer, easier going, more wearable for your average person. And then the Bronze Bliss side is definitely a bit more kapow in your face. But both are beautiful. I'm really happy with both looks that I got. And I think these are such a great choice if you are looking to, you know, try Pat McGrath shadows for the first time, because they are going to give you a taste of the brand at just such a more affordable, accessible price point than like her motherships. But I really like these. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed in them. I think they do exactly what you hope and would like and want them to do. Really minimal, if any, fallout on both sides. No problematic shadows for me. And I really like how both looks came out. So yeah, for me, both of these are a hit. They're a hit for me. I'm really not pleasantly necessarily surprised. I guess, you know, typically I love Pat McGrath shadows. Maybe because they are that lower price point and they're smaller, I was expecting the quality just not to be there, but it definitely is. So that's fantastic. So I guess that is all I have to tell you about these palettes. Please let me know if you have tried them and what your thoughts are. Which is your favorite in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.